Okay, so I like to start these out by asking the same question every time, which is, how did this project start for you?
I've known of Susan Rennie for many decades. I first heard of her in the 1970s. I can return to that in a second, but she's now in her 80s, and I knew that she had been a scholar who'd retired and was doing this, she's like a self-made, self-trained artist, and she was doing this body of work, and she was having an exhibition, and I just thought it would be a very fun and funny, but also thought-provoking short film. So, yeah.
And then can you actually tell us more about her and her background?
Sure, yeah. So she has, I think, a really important place in feminist history. In the 1970s, around 1973, I think she and Kirsten Grimstad, who's the other woman pictured in the film, traveled across the country and documented what was happening in the women's movement across the country. And you have to remember, this is long before the internet. It was really hard to know what was happening across the country. So they got a book deal it was based on the old Whole Earth catalog, which maybe you've heard of. And they wanted to do that for women, and they traveled across the country and documented all the bookstores, the health clinics, the galleries, the collectives, all the different things, and put it into this big, large format book that was such an important resource to women across the country. And so she was kind of legendary in my mind. Okay.
And can you tell us about the gallery show itself? Where was it held, when, and what was the reception?
Sure. It was at Spark, which is the Social and Public Art Resource Center in Venice, California, which is an art center that was established also in the 1970s, or maybe late 70s, early 80s. And it was just a kind of a show that actually her friends put together for her, because she's not an artist with gallery representation or that sort of thing. And it happened a couple years ago. I'm trying to remember. I was actually out of town when the opening happened. I couldn't be there, but I knew I wanted to do it. So we hired somebody to film the opening, and then afterwards I came and filmed, did a walkthrough with her. I filmed the whole thing on an iPhone because she makes all of her work with an iPhone and an iPad. So I was trying to do something kind of fast and inexpensive, because I've been working on a feature for 6 years, and that's been this huge project. So I try to do these little short things that kind of allow me to finish things and be out in the festival world and talking to people.
Yeah. And so you approached Susan. How does she react to the concept of this documentary?
She is over the moon about this, and she would be here today, but she had tickets to see something in Santa Barbara, and she just felt, so in the beginning of the film when she says, this is so unexpected, I'm so happy to have you here, this is so unexpected in my octogenarian years, she was talking to me, but because she was so honored that I would make a film about her, it was just meant so much to her. And then I used it as I edited the film. I thought that'd be kind of a fun sort of welcome, almost like she's speaking to the audience.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so as a documentarian, what kind of is there a through line of the kind of subjects you look for in your films?
Yeah, I'm not calculated about it. Things just pique my interest, but I've noticed, because my background is actually in the visual arts, and I was a performance artist, and I was early video artist. I've done public art. I have a Metro Rail station and different public art pieces. So I noticed when I started making documentaries, sort of pivoted and just said, I just want to make documentaries kind of till the rest of my life. And I started to notice that there was a theme. And that they're almost all about art and artists, and I feel like it's something that I can offer to the world or to audiences, that I have this perspective as somebody who's been an artist for many years, to help people understand artists, what they think about. I've done a piece about Alma Thomas, who's an African-American abstract artist, so a lot of people look at abstract art and they're like, I don't get it. But sort of break that down and help people understand what her work was about. And I did another one about surrealist women artists. So that's been something that I've really enjoyed doing, and people seem to enjoy learning.
Okay. Yeah. And can you tell us what producing a documentary looks like?
Lots of to-do lists. Yeah, I mean, producing is just making it happen and all the tasks that go with that. It's fundraising. I mean, a film like this, I thought I could make it for free. It was supposed to be free, and nothing's ever free. So it's sort of figuring out, whether you're going to do a Seed and Spark campaign, whether you're just going to pay for it yourself, whether somebody will give you some money. So there's that big part of it, and then there's just all the sort of managing all the departments, and in a small film like this, I kind of did almost everything myself. I didn't do the opening animation, and then I don't ever do the final sound mix, because that's really important.
Of course.
And it has to be done by a professional. But yeah, and the most expensive thing in this film was licensing the music. Okay. And each one of my shorts, I learned something that helps me on my feature. And so that's been a really interesting journey too. And so I learned about licensing music through this one.
Okay, that's perfect. I was going to ask,
Okay.
The final question always
Yeah.
is, what did you learn through the course of this project? So what did you learn?
Yeah. I mean, that would be probably the main takeaway is, how long it takes, how expensive it can be.
How unpleasant it is.
Yeah. And, everything's a negotiation. And I'm doing that right now with my feature, because I'm in the finishing stage, and I have over 700 archival assets to license.
Wow.
And it's a freaking nightmare.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so, you have to think, how important, for example, that Venus song, which is pretty famous, and it was used in the Gillette commercials and all that. Those people wanted a lot of money, and I had to explain to them, this is a film made by people who are retired, who don't have a lot of money, and please, help us out here. And so I'm trying to remember what I got them down to, $2,000 or something, but still, $2,000. It's a lot of money.
It's insane. It's
for a little 8-minute film.
That's ridiculous. Anyway, I'll open it up. Are there any questions from our audience members? Yeah, go ahead in the back.
Is Susan continuing on with her disrupting art history, or is she moved on to new projects? Or?
Sadly, Susan has had a real health turn for the worst, and it really is heartbreaking to me. And when I filmed this, she was so vibrant, as you can see, and I kind of sat on it for a year before, and then I heard she had a little stroke, and I went, I better edit this film now and get it out in the world while she can still come to festivals. I think she's been to only 2 screenings of it. The last screening, she came to it in a wheelchair. So she's in a lot of pain. She's fallen. She's, has, stuff. So that's really sad. So I kind of feel like her art making part of her life is over. The one wonderful thing is she really wanted to get in the Athena Film Festival, which is at Barnard College in New York, because she's a 1966 grad of Barnard College. She and Kirsten both went there. And she is determined to go to that screening, and I think it's in February or March of 2026. So I hope she's able to do that.
Cross your fingers.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
In fact, speaking of that, one thing I like to do at festivals is if you want to give a message to her, and don't bring up hope you're feeling better, that kind of thing, but if you want to just say what you thought about her work or anything, I like to record little things, and I send those to her, and they're always just like, they really make her day. So she's supposed to be at something in Santa Barbara today. I have no idea if she even made it to that.
Any further questions? Okay, well, thank you very much.
I also have a cutout clamshell at the step and repeat if anybody wants to take their picture as Venus on the half shell.
Please make sure to find her in the lobby. Thank you very
All right,
much.
thank
Round of
you.
applause. Thank you very much, guys.